And we also have tonight a top 25 list that I actually created. It's actually a top 20. It was influenced by.
Are you talking about what goes best with pork rinds, top 25?
No. What?
Oh, that's something. Okay.
You know what? I've never eaten pork rinds. I've seen them in like bodegas a lot. I never bought a bag.
You should be on that show, Bizarre Foods.
I've eaten platanos. I love platanos. Platanos.
You watch Man vs. Food that time?
No, I saw a little of it once. I'm not into that shit.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not into that. Watching a guy eat 85 clams, I mean,
awesome.
I hate clams. But, somebody on our Facebook page actually made a top 10. I thought his choices were kind of dopey, but it was a really good topic, and I actually came up with a top 20. And we'll go over it later on. The top 20 scumbags of all, maybe, I don't want to say of all time in wrestling, but for our generation, the top 20 scumbags.
Scumbags in wrestling? As a shoot, like guys who are just shady in and out of the ring, or you talk about wrestling-related heels, or let's be specific. I mean, because some heels are the coolest guys outside the ring, and baby faces are assholes. So.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Just guys who have bad reps out of the ring?
Yeah, scumbags. And we.
I'm just saying it could be taken a few different ways. I'm sure people will agree with that.
Now, one thing I will tell everybody, I didn't include anybody that killed anybody because, like for example, I'll tell you somebody who's on the list, Randy Orton. I mean, Randy Orton is admitted in his own video that he's a dick on the outside. He's shitting people's bags. When Randy Orton shits in a diva's bag, somebody says, "Wow, what a scumbag, what a dick."
I know, but the whole thing. Let's clarify. It's not what we're making a list, but this is going by opinions that we hear from shoot interviews from other wrestlers, from other people we've talked to.
Exactly.
Or just over the years, basically compiling evidence of this, tag that they get.
Yes.
I mean, this is not just, I don't like Kofi Kingston, so he was it's not anything like that, so I just want to clarify.
Kofi Kingston's, actually, John Cena's
reputation, no, I'm saying it's reputation outside the ring, stuff we've heard on shoots from other wrestlers who've openly said stuff about guys being cancers in the locker room, stuff that's not really a secret, let's put it that way.
Yes, and it's not all wrestlers, there's actually some other people,
it's not all wrestlers,
but like
okay. You want to
get into the list now? We can do it later.
Let's do it now, fuck it.
Well, I'll tell you one person.
No format tonight. Wrestling was horrible. Let's just go with the flow.
I'll tell you one person that I didn't include in the top 20, and I did not include Paul Heyman. Because even though Paul Heyman is in the dick bag for a lot of people on the U-shoots.
Yeah, the dick bag. Props
and
to, what's his name, Shawn Oliver.
Oh, Shawn Oliver. How great was the
concept? I think that guy's awesome. He's a great interviewer.
Did I tell you that Shane Douglas U-shoot was awesome?
I loved it. I saw it. I loved it. I talked about it on the show last week with Mish.
Yeah, it was so great.
I'm not a Shane Douglas fan, but I can admit when somebody does something good, and he did a good interview.
Yeah, you could tell he was being honest in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, no, I have no problem admitting when somebody does a good job. He did a good job.
Yeah, and for anybody out there, if you've never seen the U-shoots and you don't know what we're talking about with the dick bag, you have to get, if there's one U-shoot to pick up as the first one, Shane Douglas's one is not a bad one because it has a lot of relevance with today's wrestling, and he talks about a lot of people from Shawn Michaels to Paul Heyman. I mean, you learn a lot of things also, if you're not a big Shane Douglas fan, but it's a very entertaining shoot.
No, it's a guy who's been in all the territories, NWA, WCW. He teamed up with Ricky Steamboat, for God's sakes, won titles with him, went against Pillman and Austin in their prime, went to ECW in its incarnation. I mean, it was in the WWE during the Click, got fired really quick in the Dean Douglas character.
Yeah.
The guy's got came up in the business with Mick Foley in '84.
Yeah.
So, the guy's got fucking a history. So that's the kind of fucking guy who could provide, if he's going to be honest, a great shoot interview, and he did just that.
Yeah, exactly.
It was great. I would even give it like a 9 on a scale.
Yeah,
it was that good.
It was that good. But like what I was saying is that when Randy Orton shits in somebody's bag, somebody would say, "Wow,
yeah, it's fucked up." I mean, it's not like wrestler pranks. It's not silliness. It's kind of ruining people's property.
Right.
And other people have echoed those comments too about destructive like pranks.
Right.
As opposed to something that's just getting a laugh.
Yeah, but you would call somebody like that a scumbag. But when someone kills a family, that is beyond scumbag.
That's a criminal.
Yeah, that's criminal. So
that's another category.
Yeah, I mean, so there's no Benoit on the list, even though Benoit was notorious of hazing young guys, way back when. But
no, but like I said, I think we've explained it. Let's start breaking it down.
All right. Well, I didn't include Paul Heyman because even though Paul Heyman owes a shitload of money for people, I think he was.
And by the way, just so everyone knows, I don't even know who's on this list.
Yeah,
Tom Tony didn't tell me about it in advance. It's probably better that way that I didn't know about it.
Yeah, and trust me, a lot of people out there are not going to agree with this list. There's no right or wrong
I have no idea. I have an idea of a couple you're going to say, but the majority of the list, I have no clue what you're going to say.
Yeah, this is my list.
I wanted to go in cold, just so I can react to it in the right way.
All right. And some of the people on this list we are big fans of, but some of them in the total.
Let's be clear, you made the list. I have nothing to do with it.
Well, I'll give you number 20.
I listened to it for the first time.
I'll give you number 20, and I actually I couldn't figure out who I could put for number 20. I thought about Kenny Dykstra, but Kenny Dykstra has only been around for a cup of coffee, so fuck him. But I was looking at a lot of people on the internet that actually were talking about people, up to recent, and anybody out there that disagrees with my number 20, just do a Google search for assholes in wrestling and fan interactions. You will see story after story after story after story after story of fans saying that they met CM Punk and CM Punk was a dick. CM Punk lately obviously has changed a little bit, and he's more because he's representing WWE, and he's more cordial.
He's a fucking babyface.
Yeah, and he's a babyface. But up until
you get that kind of, especially with people having camera phones and stuff.
Yeah,
he gets caught pulling an Alec Baldwin. That can look really bad for the company.
Up until recently, if you do Google searches, you will not believe how many fans that just basically was shitting on interactions they had with CM Punk. So I put him at number 20. I don't agree with it.
See, I wouldn't even listed him, so there you go. Right off the bat, I'm surprised.
Yeah. Number 9.
I don't know if I agree with that, but let's keep rolling.
Okay. Number 19, I put Batista. Because Batista.
Oh yeah, I like Dave. I like Dave, but he's had some problems without a doubt. I mean, with wrestlers, fans, girls in the back.
Yeah.
What he did to Shelly Martinez. I mean, yeah, I can't fight that. I agree.
Number 18, I put Brock Lesnar, and the reason why I put
once again, from UFC to the WWE fans, I don't think anybody's going to dispute that.
No, I'll never forget when he was trying out for the Minnesota Vikings, and I remember we did one of our old shows way back when, and we shitted on him big time. There were little kids that were at the training camp for the Minnesota Vikings.
For the Vikings, and they wanted him to sign wrestling, and he said no.
Yep, little kids wanted him to sign wrestling posters of Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar said no because it was a wrestling photo. As if Brock Lesnar was featured on any other covers other than wrestling at the time. But to turn down little kids...
It was 10 years ago, but still.
Yeah, well, that's why I put him number 18 and not number 5. 8
years ago, excuse me.
Yeah, so he's number 18. He's a scumbag.
Oh, let's go.
All right. Number 17, I know a lot of people are going to say that this man should be much higher on the list, but when you really think about it, as much as you may think he's a scumbag, he's also did a shitload good for wrestling, and he's done a lot. And I put Vince McMahon at number 17.
Well, I don't think these. I don't think it's have any relevance of order. It's just the 20.
Well,
you're right. Because how do you even put in order? It's just 20 guys in my opinion. I don't know if it's an order.
When it gets closer to number 1, I think you'll agree with me that the
all right, Vince McMahon. Who's going to argue with that? All right, let's go.
Number 16, I put Jeff Jarrett. Putting his dead wife in a storyline. Didn't he hold up WWE for money for when he wanted?
And I'm sorry, the thing he did with Kurt Angle goes against every aspect of the Guy Code in every fucking corner of the world. So I don't care if Kurt Angle agreed with it or he didn't agree with it. Kurt Angle just wanted a job.
Yeah.
And he had to suck it up and watch his wife go with another guy in the locker room. Fuck, you don't do that. And even Shane Douglas talked about that.
Yeah.
He just broke every Guy Code rule going, and Jeff Jarrett showed no regard for Kurt Angle's feelings or Kurt Angle's children's feelings.
Yep.
Jeff Jarrett's a scumbag. He should be higher on the list.
Yep, you are a scumbag, Jeff Jarrett. Right now, I have the fictitious scumbag bag. So yes, you are a scumbag. Now, number 15, a lot of people don't know this story. He's notoriously been a dick, but if you go to my YouTube page and you see the clips from 1985 when I had up there hyping up Saturday Night's Main Event and when they were showing AWA and wrestling, Larry Zbyszko and Bob Backlund talking in the ring and all that, there is also a clip on there of Buddy Roberts from the Fabulous Freebirds putting, you might remember this guy, Kev, from Channel 9 News. He was a sports guy, but he was a short little bald man in his 50s. His name was Craig Worth. And Craig Worth asked Buddy Roberts if wrestling was fake. And he put him in a figure 4, and he actually tore his tendons and cartilage in his knee.
Okay.
Yep. So I put Buddy Roberts as next on the list, number 6.
I don't know
number
if 15. I agree with that. I don't know.
Buddy Roberts, if you go search around, Buddy Roberts is a dick. So
the guy has talking out of a voice box for the rest of his life, so I think he's paid the price for his departure.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. Wow. Yeah. So, but I put him in number 15.
He has a voice box. It's the impressive thing on his neck to talk. Seriously, I figure you should know that. Actually,
I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. I swear to God. Yep. Wow. Number 14.
Once again, I'll pass on that. I don't agree, but let's go.
All right, number 14. I put Hardcore Holly, Dick.
Yeah,
scumbag.
Bully.
Yeah. Big bully. I mean, what he did to what was that guy in Tough Enough? Matt Capitelli?
Even what he did to Rene Dupree, and even though Rene deserved it, but still unprofessional.
Yeah. So that's what I had, number 14. Number 13, I don't know how you react to this. I think it's just a guy who's become insane, over the years, and he was a favorite of yours, but number 13, I put Billy Jack Haynes.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's. If you want to have a list of people who've gone insane, that would probably be more along the lines of a scumbag. Someone insane due to medication and too many chairs in the head.
Yeah,
I would probably put him in that category.
Yeah, and you remember that shoot interview when he had those cutout photos?
Well, he's not. He's mentally ill. I mean, it's not as a joke. He's not well, and that's why I criticize Feinstein for doing that with him, because he's obviously not a well man. He's not well.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he's still alive, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, he's crazy. Number 12, he was notoriously known as a redneck and a dick, but, people will always remember him for assaulting John Stossel and ended up costing WWE $300,000, but Dr. D. David Schultz, I put as number 12.
Yeah, he's gotten a lot better over the years. He's mellowed.
Yeah.
He's actually a different person today.
Yes.
Back then, though, he was pretty badass too. A lot of people say Austin took a lot of character off of Schultz. He had a lot of. Remember this way, that guy had swagger before that word was never even on the table.
Yes.
The guy had a lot of fucking, whatever you call it, piss of vinegar, swagger, balls. You want to call it big? The guy was badass. He was.
He was. Dr. D. David Schultz is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He's in my top 10. When they did those...
He was badass, but he was uncontrollable. He was like a horse that could not be tamed type of guy in real life.
Yes.
That's why they never put titles on the dude.
Yeah. And I'm telling you...
You thought Brody was out of control. Schultz was worse.
Yeah. If you people out there have never seen Dr. D shit, you got to look at the vignettes of Dr. D when he was first coming into WWE, and they're at his house. and he's
with the kid when he's pushing his wife around. Basically, they were trying to show. Remember when his wife came out with the black eye?
Yeah, I know.
Like today, they could not show that. Remember, they were trying to make like he battered his wife. Do you remember that gimmick?
Yes.
You remember that in the house where the kids were all afraid of their father, like, get out of here, It was like they could never show a clip like that today.
Those skits are awesome. They're on YouTube too. But,
they were basically his wife was terrified of him, and she looked like she'd just gotten beaten up.
Yeah.
And I think it was Gene Okerlund or someone said, "What happened to your face?" I'm like, wow, they could never do that. The PC police would be all over that shit.
Oh my God! Tell me
they wanted to show that he was redneck badass and nothing got to him. He had just a heart of black. He didn't care about his own family. He'd beat down anybody in a second, including his dog.
Yeah, she cooked dinner and he threw it all over the table. What is this crap?
I mean, he threw it over. You so couldn't show it. Please go check out the clips and tell me
awesome.
that would be play. Today, that would so not be shown.
I will put
None of that.
I'll put it on our
They
Facebook
were alluding
page.
to the fact that he like smacks his dog. I mean, he's just, and it was fun. I mean, it wasn't funny, but I guess it was just
funny,
crazy. You know, they were trying to get him over as the ultimate heel.
You brat.
And dare I say, when Austin first came out, even the way Austin talked, there's a lot of Dr. D in Austin.
Yes.
Now, everybody go check out the clips. Tell me if we're wrong about that. That Austin might have borrowed a little bit from Schultz.
I agree 100%. Dr.
Nothing
D,
wrong with that.
Dr.
Hey,
D.
Ryback borrowed some Goldberg, right?
Dr. D is the original Stone Cold.
Dr. D is the original Stone Cold. I will totally back that up.
Yeah, without a doubt. But he was still a dick. But he was one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely. Outside the ring, too. But today, he's much nicer, man.
Yeah. Number 11, I put the Dynamite Kid. You know, he put the gun.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
He put the gun under his wife's chin. There's that infamous story where he...
what he did, he tortured the Rougeau brothers when they first came in, and Jock got him back, and then, you know... it was just a bad situation in the locker room with the Rougeaus and the Bulldogs for a long time, and it really escalated out of control. And Dynamite started it.
Yep. There's old-time wrestlers on the Classics board, and they talk about the Dynamite Kid, how when he used to tour Japan, he would roll down his window and he would start making fun of all the Japanese. He would call them all derogatory names, and you know.
I think there's more reasons why WWE doesn't put him in the Hall of Fame than he's in a wheelchair.
No,
for him to make the trip, so to speak. I think there's a lot of sore feelings.
There's
one, guys from like Pat Patterson stuff who did not care for him back in the day. Yeah. Guy was a great worker, inspired a lot of people. Work rate, top notch. Personality, horrible.
Yeah, great worker, dick. But
great worker, dick. There you go.
There's one story that floats around, and a lot of old-time wrestlers tell it also. I don't know if it's true, but it's it might be an urban legend. But they claim that one time as a prank, when British Bulldog, God rest his soul, and Dynamite Kid were doing roids, that Dynamite Kid took a syringe and filled it up with milk, and he told Davey Boy that it was steroids, and he actually shot himself in the ass and injected himself with milk.
Well, Brian Blair alluded to the fact that, him and Jim Brunzell just didn't care for what was going on. They never got involved in any of that stuff. The Killer Bees kind of kept their distance, and they was respected veterans, so Bulldogs didn't fuck with them too much, but the Bulldogs fucked with the Rougeaus to the point of it was like almost hard to watch.
Yeah.
And then when the Rougeaus fought back, Jock was almost like ostracized from wrestling in America for a while. Because if you remember, Jock broke his face, like literally knocked out all of his front teeth.
Yeah.
With that, basically doing a brass knuckles bit and clocked him when he was going back. That's a true story. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Number 10, from fan interaction to wrestlers to one story that I saw with my own eyes. I didn't see the whole confrontation, but honestly, I think number 10 is fitting. Bubba Ray Dudley is a dick. A big dick.
Oh, come on. You hear that from everybody. I never heard the opposite. I never heard he was cool.
Bubba Ray Dudley is...
I'm just going by the hundreds of people who told me that.
You know what? I'll tell a quick story.
I'm sorry, like 2 people over a 15-year period told me he was cool.
Yeah, I'll tell a quick...
And those 2 people were dicks.
I'll tell a quick story. I know a lot of people aren't going to know who this is, but enough people that listen to us that live on the Northeast, and especially New York, will remember this guy. He used to be a hotline host by the name of Matt Zombie. And I did a hotline with him. He's actually on a lot of old hotline reports that I actually still have. I could upload them. And way back when, in the mid-'90s, what Matt Zombie was selling was a videotape. And on the videotape, it was the porn of Beulah McGillicuddy with the infamous silver bullet. He was selling this all over the place. He sold it through his hotline. He would show up at ECW shows, and he would sell it to a whole shitload of fans. He was making crazy money out of this video. And one time here in New York, there was an ECW show. Matt Zombie showed up, and basically what happened was that Tommy Dreamer and Bubba Ray Dudley put Matt Zombie in the bathroom, the men's room, and closed the door, and Bubba Ray Dudley told him that he was going to beat the fuck out of him and kill him if he ever saw him sell another video of Beulah McGillicuddy with the porn video. And he was just an absolute dick, really threatened Matt Zombie big time.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not too sure if that... I'm hearing that story kind of for the first time myself.
Yeah, no, it's true.
But I don't know if that... doesn't that make Bubba Ray actually a good friend of Tommy Dreamer?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sure Bubba Ray Dudley has friends. You know?
I'm not sure. I was waiting for you to tell me some deplorable thing, and I'm like, well, wait a second. That sounds like he's being a good friend to this guy because his wife.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you a first-hand story. At least, at the time, I remember that Zombie telling me about it.
Stories. I mean, please.
Well, he still sold the port after that, though. So, God bless him.
I don't know. Okay, well, there's better examples than that, but let's just agree today.
Well, I just want to give a first-hand. I mean, you could Google and you'll see story after story about Bubba Ray. But number 9, I put Randy Orton. Randy Orton is, he's notoriously a dick. He admits on his own, documentary, which we saw recently, that he's a jerk in real life.
But I thought he was changing. See, one thing we'll say, and put this disclaimer, first of all, like I said, it's just a stupid opinion show, and everybody's got a different opinion anyway. You can agree, don't agree. It's just that back and forth with what we think or what other people have told us. But the potential for someone to not be a dick, like we talked about David Schultz, and if you watched his last shoot interview, he's now in his 60s. He's a different type of guy. That's what I mean. So there's potential for everyone to get off this list.
Right, of course. Well, back in the day,
even Batista, he can do some heroic act or come back to WWE and act like he wants to be there. But I'm just saying that there's a few people on the list that. And during the wrestling years, they maybe today they're not like that.
Right. So, we put Randy Orton on there. Number 8, I was going to put just one of them, but, this is a perfect example of a guy that totally changed his ways. So rather than me put one individual person, I basically just made it very general. And number 8, I put the Clique. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. I mean, they're all
Triple H. Yeah, I would put them at probably number 1. Well, if you heard all the stories, my God, that dominates shoot interview topics.
Yeah, I know, but a lot of them have changed their ways. So that's why I think
Kevin Nash is a Magic Mike now. Scott Hall is somewhere.
Yeah. Well, people always say 90s Shawn Michaels. The 90s HBK was the
a lot of people, by the way, still hate Shawn Michaels. What should have used? They're like, I don't believe he's changed. You don't understand what this guy did to us mid-card guys back in the day. Like, some guys are real passionate about how much they hate Shawn Michaels. You
know what it is, Kev?
They can't forgive him. Like, they almost act like if you got put through what we got put through, whether it was like Barry Horowitz or like guys like that talking, or even Shane Douglas, saying you guys have no idea.
Yeah.
Bam Bam Bigelow talked about it on a shoot interview way before he passed. He did a few shoot interviews.
Yeah.
But there's just so many guys back then, where, kind of just say that he tried to get you fired. He was just a horrible guy.
Yeah.
He was horrible. He didn't look out for Marty. Even Marty beat him up a couple of times. Remember those stories?
Yeah.
Marty, he was just out of hand. I mean, they just said Shawn was just the kind of guy. Like, think of your worst high school bully or high school jock who's trying to steal your girlfriend, get you fired from your job, get you kicked out of school. Just roll it all up into one big ball, and that's Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
Imagine going to work every day and having to be around this dude.
Yeah.
He was hated, man. And, it changed his ways. And you hear majority good things, but some guys are still holding out that he has never changed his stripes. But we don't know. We have no idea.
I truly believe Shawn Michaels. I truly believe Shawn Michaels has changed his ways. I think some people, like you said, they're so bitter about the abuse that they got from Shawn Michaels back.
Well, because they left off in that light. Maybe they even were fired because of him, like mid-card guys who claim they lost their spot.
And there's guys that are so bitter that they know deep down inside that he's changed, but they will never.
And they don't want to give him the props. Exactly. Yeah, that's hatred, man. That's
right.
When look. We dislike certain people. Like I said, man, I don't like certain wrestlers, but I'm not personal. I just don't like them. I'm just not a fan.
Right.
But if someone does something good or cuts a great interview, like Shane Douglas, I'm not a fan. But guy did a hell of a fucking shoot. You should buy it.
Yeah.
I'll endorse anything that I think is good, in my opinion. I don't care if I don't like him as a wrestler. I don't know him personally. He's probably a nice guy.
Yeah.
But Shawn Michaels, he burned a lot of bridges, but he's one of the top, 10 wrestlers, or maybe even 5 of all time. So, I mean, he's a legend, and a lot of these guys who criticize him aren't, and some of their comments will just be put by the wayside. But we've heard enough comments that he makes the list. I can say that much.
Yeah. Number 7, I put Ted DiBiase for kicking the little kids basketball. No, I'm kidding. Ted DiBiase. He's not on the list.
I don't like, you're using the term scumbag, and I don't.
No, he's not on the list.
No. But I'm just saying, just in general, like, I don't know, like asshole. I think would just be better, like asshole.
Yeah, asshole. Yeah, what an asshole.
Like, I don't know, scumbag is like what Jeff Jarrett did was a scumbag move. That's scumbag move. Dynamite Kid, like, but there's other guys, like, I don't know, like, maybe the term, maybe that's just what people use that term for, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess we could say asshole.
But I know, like, people who are not nice list.
Yeah, people not nice. He's not nice.
People not nice.
I'll tell you who number 7, who is really not nice, Kev. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Superstar Billy Graham is not a nice man.
He is a Jekyll and Hyde to the highest level. You can't. Every interview is different. He hates McMahon. He loves Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon is the worst kind of person. I love Linda. Don't vote for Linda. That she will be a horrible politician. As she's a horrible person. I mean, you know, they're all over the road, man. You can't. How are you going to take anybody seriously like that?
And you know, recently, you know, back in the early '90s, he actually went on Donahue and accused Pat Patterson of sexually abusing children. Recently,
I remember that. Yeah. Pat was a good friend of his. He was like devastated. Yeah. So, you know, Pat is gay, whatever. It's nothing to do with it. But accusing someone of doing stuff with children is far, you know, that's beyond the pale.
Yeah.
Especially if they didn't do it and you're just trying to fuck with them.
Yeah. Recently,
that's a pretty horrible accusation.
Recently, he took his Hall of Fame ring and he sold it on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, and you know that eventually they would ask him to come back again, and but maybe this time Vince is like, you know what, this time I'm not forgiving him.
No, he ain't being forgiven. Remember when that Canadian prick was accusing Abby of giving him hepatitis? Superstar Billy Graham is all over that Canadian's videos, you know, saying, you know, how could WWE induct a guy who gave hepatitis? And, you know, remember, also, he did death threats to Chris Jericho. Yeah. Remember those poems?
A lot of sour grapes in everyday life and in wrestling. They're, you know, tremendous.
I wish I had the audio. Maybe somebody could find it on YouTube quick. He did a video. We played it on the show once, where Superstar Billy Graham was reading a poem that he was threatening to kill Chris Jericho, and he was like Chris Jericho. I'll find you in.
Can't even walk. Who's he gonna kill?
I'll find you in a
7
ditch.
Years old.
Yeah. So. Well, anyway.
Too bad. The innovator of the Hogan, Scott Steiner, and Jesse Ventura look, and you know, this is what it's come to. But this is life, man. This happens in acting, football, baseball. There's a lot of guys who are Hall of Famers and then went on to become these, you know, raving lunatics. Although you're not even sure what they're raving about. Yeah.
Anybody out there, you don't have to put the link up now, but go on YouTube and look up Superstar Billy Graham threatens Chris Jericho, and you'll find those. Oh, somebody just put it up. Let me see. Maybe I can play this really quick. Because I had an
Chris Jericho, you can go straight to hell and burn in hell because that's where you belong, and I'll help get you there by cutting your tongue in half. And I think that would put an end to your music career. And so I would be more than happy, Jericho, to take a pair of pliers and cut your tongue in half and watch you bleed to death on your own blood. Now, Jericho, you may have the face of a choir boy,
the devil,
but you've got the heart of a devil. Your heart is dark.
It is funny. I've heard like some veterans really hate Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they hate him. Yeah. I mean, Bill Graham has obviously got another axe to grind, but there's some. I'll compile a list of veterans who hate Jericho for next week. But yeah, I mean, they just say some horrible things about him.
Yeah, yeah.
They said he's one of the worst workers of all time. He's sloppy. He hurts people. You know, he comes in and out of wrestling like he's some big deal and he's nobody.
Yep.
I agree with some of that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that a lot of the veterans really hate him, and it's kind of funny.
No.
You would have thought because he's a veteran at this point. He's been around for 22, 23 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, it's not like some like I can
he's
see
a
them
veteran
saying that
himself.
about. See, they won't say that about Randy Orton because Bob Jr.'s alive. You know?
Right.
They're not going to rip one of their own. You know, they won't say it about The Rock. God help him. You know, Rocky's still around. They still have respect for Peter Maivia. So even if they thought Dwayne Johnson was a jerk off, they ain't going to bash him.
Yeah.
Oh, Dwayne's a nice kid. I remember him in the locker room. But yeah, Jericho, they go to town on.
Yeah. And anyway, for people, you didn't hear the poem part because the video goes for like 5 minutes. If you listen to the whole clip, he starts getting into poetry and, you know, very, you know, he cut some really good rhymes on Jericho. But he's. Well,
let's keep going with the list.
All right, another man who's not nice at number 6, I think is no argument whatsoever. JBL. beating up the meanie.
I thought he'd be number one, actually.
No, well, I got some other ones, but I think JBL, big scumbag.
We talked about JBL so much, I don't want to get into stuff again.
Well, number 5, Vince Russo. Just in general, he's been a scumbag. He's been a dick, Number 4, I actually originally thought about putting this at number 1, but, it's really only one incident that this guy did, but to me, it made him top 5 of a dick of all time. Ed Farrar doing the Oklahoma gimmick, making fun of JR's Bill Palsy. Vampiro!
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, this is your list, so I'll respect your list.
All right. Number 3, we have Hogan. Obviously, from saying it was.
Well, he would be in my list if I made a list.
Yeah, if he was God's will for the.
I can't imagine who's number 1.
Well, number 1, I'll explain why when I say number 1. Number 2, I put Ric Flair, because basically what this.
Ric Flair over the years is just. It's unfortunate the way he's in and out, and just even the way he's staying in and going out. It's just
look.
I don't know if it makes. Like I said, asshole maybe scum. I don't know. Like I said, just the terminology for this.
I guess this is.
I have more of a problem with that than the list.
Yeah, I guess we can intertwine.
How we're phrasing this.
This is the top 20 scumbag, dick, not nice list. You use whatever word that you people.
From what
want.
we hear, from what we've heard.
Yeah.
I got to hear number 1. Let's say it.
Well, number 2 is Ric Flair, obviously, and trust me, if you Google and from his finances, his womanizing, taking that belt and putting it up for collateral, to screw high spots and then screw another place.
Yeah, what he did to High Spot Mike and the guys at High Spots was just not right. They were trying to help him, and
before I say number 1, do you know that yesterday was the 21-year anniversary that Ric Flair left NWA and showed up at WWE with the belt?
Yeah, I know. On what was it, the USA program? Yeah.
Yeah, the real world champion. That was awesome.
Yep, the real world champion.
That was fucking great. 21 years ago yesterday. Yep. Number 1 on my list, and the only reason why I have this guy on my list is because he has been on a vendetta for over. It's got to be almost 30 years now, trying to put WWE out of business. Whenever there's a tragedy in this world, WWE has written in the post about them. He's always tried to, just burn WWE any way he possibly could. I put number 1, Phil Mushnick. The ultimate dick. The ultimate.
But the problem is half the people listening to the show right now don't know who that is.
That's their problem.
Maybe it's their problem.
Well, I'm talking about, the last...
He's a reporter here in New York. He writes for the newspaper here in New York. He's been with the paper, I guess, 20 years, and he hates wrestling in general. And every time there's a wrestling thing, he gloats in the fact that, see, I told you wrestling was for the almost kind of the lowest common denominator. I don't think he has a lot of fans for us, of respect for us as wrestling fans. Any of us. Yeah. I'm talking about anybody listening to the show right. Anybody listening to the show right now would think you were a loser and a waste of time.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. He's a guy who really doesn't like wrestling or wrestling fans. I think he thinks are just a bunch of losers.
If you Google,
so yeah, in New York, notoriously, we all hate Phil Mushnick because as wrestling fans, we've been trained for that for 20 years now to not like this guy.
More than 20 years.
And he's wrote some horrible things.
He was,
but just against the sport, not against personal attacks against.
Yeah, what are you talking
every
about?
Time there's a tragedy, he's
done so many.
Wrestling appeals to the lowest common denominator. Who watches this garbage? Like that kind of attitude.
Oh no, he did so many personal attacks. You know what?
I know that, but I'm just saying. But he just has no respect for wrestling in general. Like I can imagine he'd probably berate his own children if they put it on, and he'd be like, "Oh no, you're not watching this. You're not going to grow up to be a loser."
What I'll do is
and nothing. He has some valid points.
Yeah, look, if anybody out there,
for God's sakes, roll up at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Just
Google on Monday.
Google Phil Mushnick and wrestling, or Google Phil Mushnick WWE. There's hundreds of articles of this guy totally trying to destroy WWE, and you got to see some of the personal attacks. It's unfucking real. And for the people out there that's saying, "Oh, that's stupid." Number 1, when I make the thread on Facebook and I start posting what this guy has done for the last 30 years. 30 years. I mean, look, some of the people, the only reason why I chose him number one.
Don Tony, you're getting ripped to shreds here.
No,
that was a horrible number one.
A lot of people are.
Big build up for nothing.
A lot of people are agreeing with me.
He's not in wrestling. I agree with some of those comments. Joe Mushnick is not in wrestling.
Let me say one thing.
Everyone said, do you want to do over for your number one?
Let me say one thing about this that'll back it up.
So you can tell I had nothing to do with this list.
Well, a lot of people on this list at points in their career were assholes, were dicks, but not all the time. This guy is probably the only person in the last 30 to 35 years that has been the number one asshole towards WWF, WWE over the years, trying to put him out of business. If I put articles on our Facebook page, some of the shit that this guy has said, you will not believe.
I know, but in fairness to some of the people criticizing you now, like that in a mean way, they're just saying you kind of build it up to something and then you finished off with a guy who's not in wrestling.
Well,
so I mean, he's not in wrestling. He never has been employed. Someone said to produce a paycheck that he ever got from wrestling.
Well,
he's a reporter he reports on events. He works for the paper, but wrestling is just a side note that he does. He mostly does baseball. Some people say they know who he is, but he's not a wrestling reporter. He's not like a wrestling, and he's not in some kind of like group to shut down the WWE. He just doesn't like wrestling.
On the next edition of Breakfast with Blassie, I'll read a couple of things that he did, some of the most fucked up shit that he's written, and when just Google it, you will not believe.
Matt said you're not getting out of this, Don Tony. The guy is not in wrestling.
Kev, it doesn't matter what he's tried to do to WWE.
I'm saying what people are saying.
All right, well, what he's tried to do to WWE for the last 35 years, nonstop, is just fucked up. Nonstop. That, to me, that makes number one asshole. So, hey, look.
Someone said Don Tony and Joseph think the last Sopranos episode was a good closer.
I thought it sucked too.
I suppose you thought that Journey song was the way to go.
Look. Oh man, it can't be anything worse than Edge's theme being the number one wrestling theme of all time.
No, this is well. At least Edge is in the business.
All right. Well, you know what?
I personally would have put Hogan.
Right.
I would have put just the downfall of a guy who was an icon and just became this money-grubbing scam and schemer after he got caught, mocking a paraplegic guy, trying to tell his son how to make money off of someone else's misfortune. I would put Hogan at number one.
Yeah,
the downfall of an icon.
All right, Kev has convinced me. We'll put number 3 Phil Mushnick, number 2 Ric Flair, number 1 Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, someone's saying Ultimate Warrior. I don't.
Ultimate Warrior.
If you want to throw Warrior in that list, you can. But to me, Warrior, I think Warrior makes the list of guys who aren't liked but get out of wrestling still alive and doing well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. Outspoken jerk, yeah, Ultimate Warrior. But I don't know if I'd put Scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah, he held up. Everyone held up. Jeff Jarrett held up. A lot of people held up. We don't know what goes on with money.
Hey, I wanted to put Deborah.
Who knows what he was promised? I
wanted to put Deborah McMichael on the list for after the Benoit tragedy when she went on all those interviews, and then she did the nationwide tour, and then she wanted to have all the fans were pleading to have her in TNA. That fucking lying cunt. So, but she didn't make the list either.
Oh, jeez.
There was a lot of people that didn't make the list, But
by the way, speaking of old, how'd you think DDP looked?
Old.